What's one of the first recorded things that was projected in the theater? It was the train coming up.
Oh, the train coming to the station.
People went on in an exodus because they're like, they can't literally.
I mean,
I'm
well,
glad
they
you
were
brought that up.
stupid.
So my pick is train leaving the station.
On that note.
Yeah, who's up next?
That's No, thank you. Bye.
Holy shit.
This is Staff Picks, the show where we hunt down VHSs, DVDs, and Blu-rays, trying to fill the shelf space of our video rental store evenly between the big four movie genres. Each episode will focus on a specific genre, and our four hosts will have to unanimously decide one movie to be added to the Staff Picks video store collection.
Hello and welcome back to Staff Picks. We are the staff, and today we will be making picks. We are here once again at Station 1 in New Jersey. I'm joined, of course, by Daniel Radford, my co-host, Jonah.
Hello.
And Trinisha.
Hello.
How's everyone doing?
Good. Ready for a spooky good time.
Because today, we're talking about horror. Horror, pretty simple.
Yeah.
I think.
One would think, and yet I think I picked something that's gonna make for a great conversation.
You might have a different definition of horror.
No.
I think this is going to be fun because we can talk about, isn't like, do we pick a movie based on how scary it is?
I do like that. Yes. Is it the creep factor? Is it the thrill factor? Is it
Best kills?
right?
Yeah.
Jump scares per minute.
Exactly.
This is one of my favorite genres.
One of the best genres, I would say.
Yeah, I'd say one of the best genres. Maybe one of the more most subversive genres. A lot of stuff can be said under the guise of horror. You can get a lot of wild thoughts talked about with people if you do through
Exactly.
horror.
I'm super interested. I can't wait to see you guys pick.
I know. Should we stop just messing around and get to it?
Let's do it.
Do it.
Let's do it. This time I'm going first.
Yay!
I got my bag. I think I went less pretentious this time. I just fully picked one of my favorite movies of all time. Okay, wait. Here's an easy one. Okay, our horror pick is going to be Evil Dead 2. I picked Evil Dead 2.
Which was gonna be my pick. I was going to go and try and pick it, and I couldn't find it, and it means you got it before I did. That's a movie that could also be a comedy.
Here's what I think is great about the Evil Dead trilogy. First one, pretty much like mostly a horror movie. The second one, a perfect blend of horror and comedy. It is like balls to the wall, like really intense shit happening all the time. Gore, blood, all that insanity, monsters. Then there's also like slapstick comedy. And then Army of Darkness leans further into the comedy and is more, there's like fantasy, adventure, horror stuff, but I think it's more of a comedy than the other three. And so like there's one for everybody. And for me, Evil Dead 2 is kind of my perfect mix.
It's a perfect movie. The pacing of it, the like you said, the scares, the laughs, the effects, like it just chugs along. And I'd be remiss for anyone not to say at least it was like a great movie. That's like bare minimum. Yes. It's a great movie for anybody.
This is a quintessential horror film.
Yes,
I agree.
And is one of the goriest, well-made movies ever.
It is.
Wait a minute. You stole my bit.
Again, this is the importance of physical media. There's stuff to read on the boxes.
Yes, that's very true. And if you haven't seen the movie, clearly.
I've seen Evil Dead 1. I've not seen Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, so why you started off defending yourself? I haven't seen it. I like you just basically defend yourself by saying you haven't seen it.
Well, if I've seen Evil Dead 1, haven't I seen Evil Dead 2?
That's what you think?
Well, this is the funny thing, because Evil Dead 2, the plot is extremely similar to Evil Dead 1. He just goes back to a cabin with a girlfriend. It's like almost a remake in some ways.
Yeah.
But, which is, makes the main character very stupid, because they do establish that he did go to a cabin once before, and and all his friends died.
But it makes him a great leading man for a horror movie.
Bruce Campbell is so good in this movie.
Yes.
The flips he does, the amount of plates he smashes over his own head.
He does a lot of backwards acting too, like physically, just to make stuff work. He'll do stuff like backwards, and then they run it forward, and it gives it everything. It's just such a weird thing to do.
It is like the whole thing. It is relentless. It is like every scene is great. Every scene has some amazing gag. It's just like there's so few movies have as much energy as this does, and also quantities of blood.
Yeah.
Yes. It is one of the goriest well-made.
It is. I mean, I love it so much. I love this movie to death. It's one of my favorites. I mean, I don't know what else I need to say.
Groovy. Evil Dead 2, perfect movie. But then I had to pivot. This could have been a choice for comedy. This could have been a choice for action. This breaks a lot of the rules that I feel are important when it comes to zombies. Zombies. I am a huge fan of. This breaks the rules, but it does it in all the right ways.
See, now it's getting intense. I pick horror. Horror is a hard one. Oh God. If there was Return of Living Dead, I'd probably pick that for horror, but that is more of a comedy. Oh, here we go.
It is not Shaun, but it is Return of the Living Dead, which is also one of the best punk rock movies. You know, because you have the guys saying,
"You think this is a fucking costume? This is a way of life."
Which is like, how you feel when you're like, a young kid looking for identity. It is just, it's like, you got like weird vaudeville like comedy with the two guys in the beginning. You have the running zombies. I love zombies. It's like Dawn of the Dead, the original, probably one of my all-time favorite movies. The remake of Dawn of the Dead, also up there, I
really
think,
like it.
is one of my favorites. But this is just so fun. Dan O'Bannon wrote the script. It is just like ridiculous. He directed it as well. It's insanely quotable and fun and funny and gross. The effects are wild. You got Tarman, which is such an iconic.
Oh my God. Have you guys seen it?
I've seen it.
I have not seen. I've seen a surprising amount of zombie movies for a person who doesn't like scary things, but I have not seen this.
It's so much fun.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember, is this one of those ones where do they actually use the word zombie in this, or is this one of those ones where they have like a fakey dumb word because they don't want to say zombie?
No, they just kind of say like, it's like, like they even reference like the original like Night of the Living Dead, where it's like, they destroy the brain of the earlier one, and like, and then he's like, well, it worked in the movie, and then this guy who was like, you mean the movie lied?
Isn't this the first zombie movie that established the thing of zombies eating brains?
Yes, this is where they're saying like brains, and they say they're eating brains to kill the pain.
Right.
The pain of being dead is what they're trying to do.
So therefore, a major like installment in the evolution of zombie lore.
Yeah, exactly. The brains is this is where it comes from.
What about this breaks the rules that you have for zombies?
Well, running is one thing, but I've
that's
now
the zombie thing.
Yeah, so like I've now like kind of like over the years refined what I think, because I'm kind of a Romero purist when it comes to.
Because you got 28 Days Later, and that's a fantastic fast.
Which is that's
really
actually a virus outbreak movie. No one
like when that movie came out, they're like, this isn't a zombie movie.
Resident Evil's not a zombie movie either. Then.
It's not. You're right. Like what I'm talking about is like you have to die and come back. I'm talking like cinematic zombies, starting Romero style. For a long time, I was like, you can't run. It's like, because you're dead. But this is how I've done it in my head, where I can like be okay with it. When you first die, you still have all your same muscle mass. So if you see food and like all your whole thing is just trying to go and eat somebody, you're gonna get there as fast as you can, meaning you're gonna just run with all your muscle mass. But you're dead, so you won't be, you'll just be tearing apart your muscles. So you'll eventually become a shuffling around zombie.
Right, because you still, it's like with the vampire movies where some of them will be like, well, you're the strongest when you just get turned because you've still got your human blood inside you.
Yeah, that's a great point.
In defense of fast zombies, it's just way scarier.
It is, but like it's like there's the impending dread and doom of a slow-moving horde. But fast zombies, it's like you go, oh, you're just fucked.
So like my anxiety and fast zombies are like, that they're just like chasing each other. I think that's a good pairing if you want a scary movie experience.
Yeah, I think so. And so you'll have that, but you'll also have some laughs.
Send more cops.
Danielle,
All
what do you
right.
got for us?
So this is not one of my favorite movies. It is pretentious. I enjoy making fun of it very much, but I do have reasons unrelated to plot as to why I think that this should be preserved. I submit to you, dear panel. Ooh, which one are you? It's Donnie Darko. And this is special features, commentary, the infomercials. Yes. This is going to be, I guess it's going to be my horror pick, right? Donnie frickin' Darko.
Oh, okay.
I am not a fan of Donnie Darko. It's fine. It's a fine movie.
It's your pick.
You're not really selling this here.
I'm getting there. Okay. I promise. The reason why I specifically think, and in this case, it has to be the DVD, it can't be anything else, because there is so much that is important to understanding the movie Donnie Darko that never makes it in the movie Donnie Darko. Yeah. And the only way you would be able to know any of it is through this DVD, which has all of these extras that explain the plot and explain the things that are happening, which now that we are in streaming, meaning you don't really get things like behind the scenes, you don't really get things like in this they have, obviously they've got commentary, they've also got the infomercials, they have the book, The Philosophy of Time Travel, that they talk about a lot in the movie.
Have you seen the director's cut?
Oh, I sure have. I think that's the one that we did the honest trailer for.
Because a bunch of that stuff that you're describing is just in the director's cut.
Right.
Which I prefer the theatrical cut.
Director's cut, hard to find those on streaming sometimes though. Like there's a director's cut of That Thing You Do, which makes it an already great movie and even 10 times better movie. It's not available streaming, it's only available on DVD.
A lot of them are, yeah. And so that's why this was one that I think would be preserved, because it has all of these extras in that make you be like, okay, well, whatever. I guess it's like a rabbit and like a plane. I don't know, man. I think it's a fine movie. I think the fans of this movie was what kind of put me off of it, because it's so brilliant. It's the smartest movie you'll ever see because it's time travel. And he sacrifices himself because it's time travel. And then the rabbit, I'm like, oh my, you gotta stop talking.
Sometimes good things can be ruined by the fans.
I mean, I remember renting that from my local video store when I was like 14, and it was awesome. No one else in my school seemed to be aware of it. I'm glad I saw that movie before annoying people. Maybe I became one of those annoying people. I don't know. Probably.
So I still can't tell. Do you like the movie?
It's fine. I think it's important because, again, of the fact that it's like, this has extras on it. And so in our video store, I would want to have that in there because A, it is an important part of being able to read the movie correctly, and B, because it is also a great example of how supplemental material can actually enhance the original.
Does it make it a good movie if you have to have all these other contextual pieces?
No, it's like fucking In-N-Out. Like if the burger is better animal style, just put it on the menu.
Make it fucking animal style.
I don't think it's impossible to understand without that stuff. It's like on first viewing, maybe.
And I will be completely fair in saying that it was one of those where after having it hyped up, which is why this is actually, I have a Donnie Darko rule where if something is being way too hyped up, I will give it a 2-week cool down, or at least until it like leaves the cycle in social media chatter and all that stuff. And that allows me to be able to watch a piece of media or read a book or a comic with a fresh perspective without it being like weighed down by the opinions of everybody else. Because I do think, had I gone onto Donnie Darko with people just being like, hey, it's a good movie, you should check that out, I would probably have a different opinion. But then watching it the first time being like, what is this? And everyone being like, no, but you gotta, I'm not watching, I'm not doing homework.
Yep. I met a new friend.
Real or imaginary?
Imaginary.
Okay, we've heard about Danielle's pick for a movie she does not like.
Yes.
Chanisha.
Okay.
Bring us home. What do you got for us?
Guys, I'm gonna repeat the fact that I was seriously overwhelmed when I walked in there, and I just had some performance anxiety, so I didn't really process what was happening.
Ghostbusters.
It's Ghostbusters 3. All right, this isn't strictly horror, but it's got horror elements to it, and I feel like I can make a case for it. Also, I'm a chump, so I don't really do horror, so I'm gonna go Michael Keaton's is Beetlejuice for my horror recommendation. I chose Beetlejuice.
Hey.
No, that's totally what it's like.
Great.
Good scary moments in that.
It does got some creepy moments, and if you're like, I don't know how old I was when this came out, but if you were my age when this came out,
great.
I was young, 1988. I was young
He's the ghost with the most.
The ghost with the most. I love this film because it's got the quotables again. I think that's in my top 10 quotables, like the things that make you walk away with something and want to revisit are the ones that I love the most. The fact that it became a musical does not surprise me because the performances were so lyrical and like perfectly done. And also it's an all-star cast if I ever heard of one. But like
Michael
before
Keaton.
they peaked, even like these are like stellar, really fantastic f***ing actors who all happen to be in the same film at the same time before they all went off and like did even more extraordinary things.
I just finished reading Gina Davis's book, which is an incredible read. But like her talking about this, like where she did this after The Fly. And
Right.
That's right.
yeah, and it's like it was just like she's like it just seemed fun. Like she just seemed into it, and like that's what kind of it's such a fun movie. It's such a fun like it's with actual kind of horrific elements to it and stuff that's kind of scary, like the whole Dune, sandworm, like
Yes.
Saturn
Yes.
thing.
And
you know?
it's a really great contribution to the Tim Burton aesthetic. Like I feel like this between this and Edward Scissorhands and the others, it really establishes what he's about, but it does it in such a way like you could watch the Tim Burton's Batman and be like, oh, like without even hearing Tim Burton, like, oh, that's a Tim Burton offering.
This was really the thing where it's like, oh, it's clear that like an animator directed this movie.
Yeah.
It has that feel of an animated movie.
That's what I think is so great about horror as a genre is that there are so many different shades to this because you'll look at something like this and you remember like this is very much a horror. You look at Buffy the TV show. It's very much a horror, but you're still laughing and adverbing your nouns and nouning your adverbs. But you stick around for all the horror and those things. Beetlejuice is, again, besides from being incredibly funny, technically the stop motion
Yes.
is ridiculous.
I love that it's tactile. I love that it's all practical. I love that you're in the universe with them.
What's very funny about this, you picking this, is that one of the reviews is uproarious. There hasn't been anything like it since Ghostbusters.
Look,
A great drama.
A great drama.
It's showtime.
This is gonna be tough.
If I may,
You may
I
not.
am gonna push for Evil Dead 2 on this. It's a funny selection because, almost all of these are like mixes of horror and other things. No one's picking a slasher movie. No one's throwing like Texas Chainsaw Massacre in there.
Yeah.
And but I'm gonna push for Evil Dead 2 because in terms of just like as a horror movie, I think it's the best horror movie. And also, as far as this being a video store thing, this is absolutely a movie I discovered through video stores.
Same. Like the cover, the skull with the eyeballs. It's like it is looking at you from the
For
shelf.
my whole
going,
childhood,
"Ah."
I would see it, and I'd walk past it, and I'd see the eyeball looking at me, and then finally I got to a point, I don't know, when I was like 14 or 15, and I was like, I think the time has come, I'm gonna rent this thing and find out what it is.
And then being blown away by how much you were having a good time.
It changed my life.
Yeah.
I think of these, Evil Dead and the second one of
Return of the Living Dead.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Are the two most like quintessential horror offerings. Others are like more genre bending.
Well, yeah, I'd say Donnie
challenging
Darko. I wouldn't even consider it a horror, really. It's it's
It has elements.
it has elements of horror, but as far as just like a straight classical horror movie,
Yeah.
I would agree with
I mean,
you.
it's the same
yeah.
kind of thing. Like I would say, Beetlejuice is a comedy with like the kind of trappings of a horror movie.
It's a creepy comedy.
Exactly, it's a creepy comedy. It's a kooky, spooky comedy.
It's a thing that would make me happy because I don't want to see scary things.
I get it.
Sorry.
safe scary, Disney scary.
Not quite Disney scary. Some of it's a little creepy, but it is family friendly.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it was made from a guy that came up through Disney. So
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
I do love people falling off of stuff.
Yeah.
It is good.
Yeah.
And I will say, as far as like picking a horror movie, I think Return of the Living Dead and Evil Dead 2, the ones that have dead in the title,
Yes.
are probably, to me, like the best representations of the horror genre.
Yeah, and we're
let's
not
stick to the
saying these are
deads.
the scariest. We're just like, it's like the ones we found within this place.
Right.
The ones that deserve to be here. And that's not the saying that like other like more wild, scary things are like, like more, elevated horror stuff or.
Ooh, elevated horror.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
if
it's
it wins an
smart.
award, it's elevated.
Exactly.
This is for you too. I love this for you.
I hate the term elevated horror. I think it's annoying.
Yeah.
I think it's condescending.
Return of the Living Dead, it's it means a lot to me, but I think I'm gonna have to go with Evil Dead 2, mainly because I would have loved, if I saw it, I would have picked it.
I feel like if I walked into a video store and I was like, I want to expand my horizons, I want to try to do the horror thing, I feel like I would like, yeah, Evil Dead, that sounds like a horror movie I should watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
The skull, the whole nine is
the
giving.
skull. It's got
giving scary
eyes in
movie.
it.
No, I'm always gonna. I love Evil Dead. I love all the Evil Dead movies. I like this. I like the show.
Yep.
I love Bruce Campbell. I like the game. I'm gonna go with Evil Dead always.
Yeah. I think that's, yeah,
the
it's gotta be Evil
I
Dead 2.
mean, this was the thing. This was my
No,
easiest.
that's Evil Dead 2. No one picked the thing.
Is this it?
And that's it.
That's it.
Is that
You did
simple?
it.
I like all these movies.
You did it, Joe.
I know. Thank you. Wow, this was way less heated than the comedy round.
Yeah. And maybe it's because we all don't horror for a living. I think that maybe that's.
I've been in a bunch of horror movies. Like, you know, it's like it's.
Were any of them
some-
back there?
No. Like they're all too new to.
I'm teasing. I'm sorry.
Blu-rays?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't look at all the Blu-rays.
I'm just saying that I would have loved it if you were like, well, this isn't my favorite movie, but I do have a small role in it.
Yeah.
And then we're all like, we feel bad about like voting against literally you.
Yeah, there's like if I could have found like 2 different horror movies where I get killed like within the first 5 minutes.
I'd watch that.
Wait, do you just want to see him die?
Yes.
Yeah.